is on. He's looking for number 35. The wheels in front, they fall behind. The legend grows bigger. It's history again. Cavendish, number 35.
Matthew Keenan there taking us through the spiniest, tingliest moment of the Tour de France so far. And I often wonder how many options he has in front of him for phrases to deliver when something historic happens.
Well, I think when you look at how many years of work has gone into Mark Cavendish winning 35 Tour de France stages.
Got a bit of
Maybe
time
not quite as many years in the notebook for Keno, but
I don't know. Keno's pretty thorough.
it's a pretty huge moment. A lot of gravitas, not just for the athletes, but for the commentators as well. Like, it's such a privilege to commentate in those big events and events where you know that in 10, 20, 30 years' time, he'll be showing that to grandkids, to friends, to family. That's a legacy that Mark Cavendish takes with him as well. So a lot of pressure on Keno too.
Huge amount
Don't
of
want
pressure.
to stuff that one up. And he didn't.
He sure didn't. Massive moment. But before, it's that big of a moment that it has overshadowed us saying bonjour to all of you from where we are here in Paris, as you can see. Merckxy's here. So, mate, thank you for getting us this prime location.
Yeah,
Couldn't it have been easy to negotiate this on the eve of the Olympics?
Good, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
very
rings,
good.
look at the rings there. And
Yeah.
later it all sparkles.
It's a little bit fancy.
It's quite cool.
Yeah, well, I've got Olympics starting in 3 weeks. So we're, headlong into Tour de France at the moment, but it's not long before we have to add some multi-sport talent to our commentary books.
Thank you for bringing us along for the ride, Catherine. Can I just say, Merckxy, that was a lovely little dip we had in the Seine this morning. I don't know what all the fuss is about. I thought the water was absolutely delicious.
Yes.
So that was good. But look, we got a lot to talk about. But Cav, we're going to talk about Cav. We had all these wonderful ideas for what we wanted to do, like being here in Paris, eve of the Olympics. We're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that. Then Cav happened. So we're going to talk about that.
We haven't even had time to get any baguettes or fromage.
Makes me sad.
It's
Makes me
Friday.
sad.
It's Fromage Friday.
Oh, it is Fromage Friday.
Oh, you have to
We'll
hit
get on
the
to that.
delicatessen.
Yep. I had one earlier. Sorry,
one earlier?
I had two.
Just a cheeky baguette.
I'll
or two.
get you one tomorrow.
Sorry to our celiac EP Merckxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, guys. I just want to point out something about Cav.
Yeah.
How about McGrory, Hank Fogels, Johan Broneel? They all said, no, I can't do it. Won't do it. Laughed at me.
But Merckxy, it's the victory that shouldn't have happened.
See, this is what annoyed. He had heart.
He did.
On paper, he's like a Queenslander at Origin time.
Well, you're going to
There
need
you
some
go.
heart because there's a decider coming up. But anyway, I think what's so remarkable about what he's achieved is that it shouldn't have happened. And we are in a sport now where the bike and the setup that Mark Cavendish has, £180,000 worth. So they take technology very seriously. They don't think that it's all about heart, Merckxy. If it's all about heart, why are they spending £180,000 on a bike and setup?
Yeah, well, no, but
See, no answer.
yeah, but other bike riders would have a similar setup, expensive setup. I mean, if he didn't think he could do it, he wouldn't have turned up.
He had £1,000 socks on.
No, you reckon the socks
Actually,
did it?
no, he
come on.
has £1,000 socks on tour with him. Not for stage 5. He accidentally left them in the camper. But they're there. But no, I see what you're saying, Merckxy. I just think that is what makes it just so remarkable. From stage 8 in 2008, where he took the first victory, and he was a kid. And I was on the team with him at the time. Mark Renshaw was also there. This is a bit of a victory for the Aussies because Mark Renshaw is the common denominator. He has been by his side the entire time. He's like an emotional support animal that is full of strategy. It's a double whammy. But it's truly the most beautiful partnership, the Mark squared. And he's not the most powerful rider there. He won the stage not because he was the quickest rider out there. He was the smartest rider out there. And if you look at the aerial shot, the way he anticipates other riders' movements, makes his way through the peloton, it shows that sprinting, especially with course design, when it's a little bit more technical, it's not just about being the strongest, brutiest sprinter. And that's what I love. Like, that is pure
There's not much
sprinting.
of him. Yep.
No, it's so cool. It's
he had
real...
the bullet train ahead of him too, the Shinkansen leading him in. That was beautiful work.
I mean, that's the interesting thing too, is that they had this perfect plan and strategy for his lead out, and it went tits up, but he still knew how to navigate through it. And again, that's experience.
What happens now? I got questions the two for you. Firstly, does this make him the greatest sprinter of all time?
Undoubtedly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
And not just because of the 35 stages, but the longevity.
Yep.
2008 to 2024, and he's racing against guys now, like Biniam Girmay was one, Wout van Aert another, who said they grew up as young kids watching him race and were inspired by him to race themselves. And now they're winning stages alongside him. For him to still be relevant in that capacity is just incredible.
I haven't seen a lot of train switches like we saw. I thought that the smarts in that, and as you've alluded to already, that was nothing short of genius. But also the boldness, I guess, to back himself physically at that. We've spoken a lot about his resilience and some of the adversity and all of that. That was awesome. That's that sort of thing where it's like your body gets older, but you get sharper between the ears. But what I thought also was that now that he's done that, tick, obviously stage 6, sort of just starting to drift off a bit. What happens now? Is he looking at the mountains going, you know what? I might put a fork in myself here because I've got the record and I'm bloody done.
No, he could. And I think there's a joke. And Merckxy, you pointed out afterwards, he had a chat to Geraint Thomas about this.
He did, yeah. Well, he said, mate, why don't you just drop your bike and walk off into the fields? And
like,
he said,
hold my beer, I'm done.
yeah,
See
he
ya.
said, no, the next stage actually suits me really well. I think he just loves riding his bike. He's kind of like a kid.
Yeah.
He, more than ever, even though he's announced his retirement and then he has come back, I think more than ever he now knows it's over because he knows that he'll be able to emotionally let it go. Whereas I think before he got this record, he knew it was still there. He knew there was something that maybe he had to give up on it, but he didn't want to. I think now he'll go with a peace, a no pressure. He'll be able to enjoy the rest of the tour knowing that, you know, if it did end tomorrow, he would go home satisfied.
Well, he's done it. This is what he's been talking about for years.
Can you imagine the pressure on him that has been on him? Like the emotional resilience.
Yeah.
Because let's talk a little bit about his journey to get here. He was boy wonder, you know, and the book, Merckxy, you had last week, Boy Racer. Like he was known as just this brash, super talented. People love to have a love-hate relationship with him because so young. So fresh. But
Hasn't changed a bit though, let's be honest.
But they knew, you know, like sometimes he rubbed people up the wrong way. Both, you know, he and Mark Renshaw riding together, you know, Renshaw got kicked out of a Tour de France for a stray headbutt because they were so focused on getting there. But the whole time people have also liked and respected him. He's like the mate that you have that sometimes you can't stand but you still keep inviting back. But over the years, he's kind of morphed into a guy that is so deeply and broadly respected that everybody in the cycling community is thrilled. And a lot of people also found the journey he's been on to be quite vulnerable themselves and also for him, because you have to remember that with a CV like he has, he put himself in a position to fail, where, as Merckxy pointed out, everybody said he was going to fail. Nobody
Except for
ever
Merckxy.
I
Except
can't
for
get
Merckxy.
on to Hank Fogels. He's not taking my calls, funnily enough.
Yeah, he's gone quiet.
So much for our
Laughing at me.
exclusive
Maguire's gone
cross.
quiet.
Yeah.
But
Come on.
there's a really raw vulnerability in that.
Yeah.
Because there would have been a lot of people who said to him, we support your decision, but you have to be realistic. And nobody was in his corner more than him and his wife, Peter, and they make an exceptional team. And she has been, I think, the super weapon that has turned him from this brash young kid into quite a considered, calm.
Yep.
And the common denominator across it all is that he's a really nice fella. Like, amongst all the brashness, he's a nice fella. But he's had Epstein-Barr. He's broken so many bones. He's changed teams 8 times. And for that to happen to a rider who we know is so talented, there are just not enough words to say how remarkable this is. I think Eddie Merckxy, your namesake, you know, the less famous Merckx, he congratulated him.
Yeah, he said, you know, couldn't have gone to a nicer man. So that's cool.
I don't even know or care if that's genuine. The point is,
Well, he had to say something.
yeah, universally, everybody is in absolute awe on what he's achieved. So
Yeah.
good on him.
Patrick Lefevre said even after he left Quickstep, whenever he's in London, whenever Pat Lefevre's in London, Cav will always call him and say, hey, I'll take you to the nicest restaurant,
It's
Good guy.
for all we might think about Lefevre, he was the only one who would step up and save Cav when no other team would sign him, and he was in the wilderness. And he had that heart-wrenching interview at Shoulder Price when he'd had quite a bad race and only just finished, and they interviewed him and he cried and he said, this might be the last race. I get goosebumps. This might be the last race overdue, because he knew he had no contract. So Quickstep gave him that lifeline, but they couldn't keep it. They didn't keep him there because they said it was kind of a lifeline. You need to either use this as your swan song or use it to propel yourself further. But there have been a lot of different people in the sport who have given him that lifeline when he's needed it, that have gotten him to here.
Just on Renshaw, he's in the team car watching that stage. Video drops out 500 metres before the end.
Oh, you're kidding.
Said they couldn't see it. So when he won, they didn't know. They had to wait to be told on the radio. Can you believe that?
It's old school.
Unreal.
Isn't it just?
Yeah, that's how
fantastic.
it used to be, where everyone would just be huddling around the radio in the team car, or they'd jump out of the car and go, and? So that's cool. Yeah, it's so good for Mark Renshaw. I think that he was spending a lot more time in Australia with his family, and he also sacrificed a lot to go back to work with Cav. And, credit to his family as well for supporting that. It's been this monumentous effort.
Yeah, absolutely.
Support.
And the outpouring that we've seen speaks to him being a pretty well-liked dude, let's be honest. But I just want to point just quickly to the resilience, because you spoke about the injuries, the setbacks, the illnesses, even personally, like a fair bit of upheaval in his world, especially in recent years. And we have seen a lot of vision of him, not having the best day on the bike here and there. So where does it rank for you, I guess, when we look at epic comebacks? He's a guy that never quite went away, but he very much nearly did.
It ranks at the top for me, truly, across any sport. And I think the reason is because there's been so many little blows and so much public commentary and scrutiny, and to the point where I think very, very few people rated his comeback. Like, they supported it because they wanted to support him as a person, but there were so many naysayers. And I won't criticise them, because, to be honest, I didn't think he could do it. I wanted him to, but I didn't think he could.
Never in doubt.
Yeah, that's universal. But part of that is because I didn't want personally to see another moment like last year's tour when he broke his collarbone, and the look on his face when he got in the van was of a broken human being.
I thought that was it. I remember that was like, it was almost that Serena Williams kind of curse, where you're there, but you haven't quite jumped over. It's like, well, he gave it a red hot shot.
Yeah, and I actually think, like, he took a lot of courage and character to put himself on the line, because he would have been, in my view, pretty mentally destroyed if something like that had happened again. So now I'm less stressed. If he's touching a few wheels later in the tour, I'll be like,
he can do what he wants.
Good stakes aren't as high.
Good help is hard to find. Just ask Merckxy, and I think he'll be forever grateful to not only the trains of his team, but the trains of other teams as well for getting him there. Fantastic, phenomenal, brilliant, outstanding, legendary, iconic. The superlatives. We should email all of those words to Matt Keenan, because we can add him to his list. Lovely commentary from Keeno. What a moment. Like you said, what a one to be part of. That's fantastic. Now, not the only bit of history at the TDF so far. It's been I'll tell you what, as far as like not burying the lead, I'll say. That's the term you use in the media. Don't bury the lead. This tour has not buried the lead, because it's just had 3, 4, 5 epic moments in the first half dozen stages. Let's talk about our guy, Binny, because he's been in every team this Wheelhouse squad has picked since it started 102 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And now it's paid off.
There used to be the biggest, loudest support crowd at any race was that for Peter Sagan,
Yep.
for Sagan Peter.
Sagan Peter.
But that has been taken over well and truly in the last couple of years by the Eritrean
Merckxy's
fans.
glaring at you right now. Have you gone off topic or are you just slagging Sagan?
He had
I'm
a
not.
tribute to Cav. He called him the king.
Oh, there you go. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's true.
But even at Cadell Evans Great Ocean Road Race in January, we had a huge Eritrean crowd. And James Tobin got amongst them in the broadcast, and they all but picked him up and carried him away with the drums and the flag, like so into
What I love about JT, he just goes with it.
He just goes with it. He does. G'day, JT.
It's like, all right.
He probably wishes he was there for that moment.
Yeah.
But so the support has been incredible. But he became the first Black African to win at the Tour de France, to win a stage. Just an incredible moment in history. It is massive. It is a tearjerker. It is one of the reasons that I love this sport so much, because it is a sport with such rich history, but we are still having these incredible leaps forward. He's a kid who grew up watching the Tour on telly. He watched Mark Cavendish.
Yeah.
And he recalls asking his father one day, do you think I could go to the Tour de France? And, you know, his father said, if you can dream it, then you can do it. You just have to work hard. And that's what he did. He just worked so hard, took every opportunity.
Yep.
And we've seen, you know, the rise of Eritrean cyclists through the last couple of years. It's just monumental. He won at the Giro a couple of years ago on a stage.
That was all same milestone, different GT.
Yes, but then
basically,
disaster struck because with the champagne on the podium, he popped it, clocked him in the eye. He was out of the tour. They made some very funny videos after this stage where the champagne was pointed far
he wouldn't
away
want anything
from
to
him.
do with it. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I just
I
have
mean,
a water, please.
some of his support staff may have copped it because he was pointing it. But honestly, it's a really wholesome, beautiful moment in sport.
It's
I
not
love
just
it.
good for sport in Africa and sport in Eritrea. It's good for sport all over the world. And I don't just limit that to cycling. I've been having a look at a lot of the reactions and a lot of the social media reactions, and they're not all rusted on bike fans. Not all of these reactions are coming from hardcore cycling fan pages, but they're talking about a guy who is doing it, who is achieving the dream. And you know that old, if you can see it, you can be it.
Yeah,
that sort of thing.
100%.
Of the value this adds. This single stage win, and if that's all he does this year, that's all he needs to do. Because the message being sent there is that, you know what? Go after it. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. What your background is, it's there for you if you can take it. And he's absolutely done that.
And the next kid who's watching and says to his dad, can I ride the Tour de France
Yeah.
one day? He can now point and say,
Binny did it.
yeah.
Binny did it. Yeah.
What about the green jersey? It's very interesting, right?
And he's wearing the green jersey now, which is so cool. And thanks to Jasper Phillipsen throwing his toys out of the pram, I think he's in for a good run. I want to skip to that. Sorry.
Okay.
I hate
No.
skipping rundown items, but
Let's skip.
Skip
Merckxy's
ahead. That was a
got us
genius
there.
Get into
segue.
it.
Yeah.
because Jasper Phillipsen in Unchained, he came across maybe a bit of selective editing, Merckxy.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
would
you're
be,
the
but
production fella here.
Can't make chocolate cake without the chocolate.
You still said it. That's it, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like they always talk
This
about
is
that. It's
true.
like, oh, gee, they only showed the worst bits. Yeah, but the worst bits still happened.
They
didn't
still happen. That's right. He came across as a little bit of a brat. He really did. Like, he came across as a
Bit of a tiz. Having a bit of a tiz.
win
yeah.
at all costs, happy to ride old school a bit insofar as throw his shoulders around and his head around and change lines and be unapologetic for it. And he ruffled a lot of feathers at the Tour last year around it, a lot of complaints, a lot of did they handle it well? You know, did they give him the sanctions where he should have?
He looked like a wanker.
Yes,
I'm just
Merckxy,
putting
he
it out
did.
there. Yeah.
He did. So on stage 5, both he and Mark Cavendish got a warning from the UCI for changing lines in the sprint.
Yep.
It wasn't too violent, so just a warning. But they did say to them, you do it again and there will be more consequences. On stage 6, he came across the line in second. He had his grumpy pants in a massive wedgie, can I say, Joel?
I like it.
And his irregular movement in the sprint ended up in a sanction for him. So he got relegated back to 107th place, so last in the peloton. Wout van Aert, had to mention Wout, right, Merckxy?
Bing!
He also kind of cracked the shits at the UCI, terrible term, but there you have it, because he said, I don't think it's enough of a sanction. Like, this is a guy who did it last year. He continues to do it.
Yeah.
And so long as they go easy, we'll continue to do it. But what I'm seeing is a real shift in this kind of smooth persona that Phillipsen thought he was kind of the king into a brat. I mean, you put it perfectly, Merckxy. At the end of the stage, he had a little tantrum. So he crosses the line. All of the reporters are huddled around him, hoping for a comment, you know. And as a reporter, that's a bit of an uncomfortable job sometimes because you know that they're going to be disappointed, frustrated, angry, whatever, but you've got to get up there with a microphone. Anyway, they're waiting for a comment. He's hunched over his bike. He sits up. He whacks a car that's next to him and he just yells, "Ah!"
I like the way you got around the swear word then.
And rides off, like
Yep.
leaving everybody a little bit shocked. It's part of his job, if he didn't already learn, to talk to the media.
Of course it is,
And
yeah.
and they then went back to the bus and it was kind of shuttered down and black curtain across and it's not going his way, so all of a sudden he's throwing a tantrum.
And there you go. There's season 3 of Unchained right there. But
yeah.
what annoys me about this is, you know, they always, I'm with Wout because repeated offences and when you're putting your fellow competitors in danger with those kind of actions, and then you get a warning and you come out, you get a little fine, whatever, and you come out and say, "Oh, look, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it, and I really appreciate the rules of the sport, and safety is a priority of mine. All right, let's get on with it." That for me isn't lesson learned. That for me is not punishment accepted, lesson learned, and he needs to start demonstrating, I guess, a little bit more maturity along the lines of you have an obligation not just to the public who are enjoying the sport and wanting to hear from you, but your fellow competitors as well. And maybe the way to find that out of him is to just dial up the sanctions a little bit.
It does make me wonder how much Unchained is actually impacting the racing and the mentality of the riders because, you know, look at Cav, it's not just about physicality, it's about mentality as well. And clearly, if we hoped Ben O'Connor wasn't watching Netflix because I don't think they
he was too busy
gave him
listening to the Wheelhouse.
a kind treatment. But
Yeah.
same with Phillipsen. You'd have to be a rock to not let it in or not let it impact you in some way, shape or form.
I say this, I talk about this stuff all the time, and I think athletes, these are young men and women, and a lot of them are still, you know, have had, I'm going to say the proverbial silver spoon. They've been good at their sport from a really young age, and they've had a pathway and been like, you know what, this is what I'm good at, I don't need to worry about anything else. Sometimes that extends to professional courtesy and respect of your colleagues and that's what this smacks of for me. And having to go into the tour bus and shut all the curtains while whatever was happening in there was unfolding, that's bad optics for everyone in that team, not just him.
It's not great for the
That
sponsors.
makes the team look like they're struggling to manage it as well.
So speaking of silver spoon, something that's raised my eyebrows is Remco.
Here we go.
I think Remco has had a few little bratty moments already. Very early on when Pogacar took the yellow and in stage 2, and there were some riders. It was also the day that Carapaz took the yellow, which, by the way, first time an Ecuadorian rider has ever had the maillot jaune. Massive piece of history as well. In the same way we were talking about Girmay, Richard Carapaz has spoken a lot about how growing up, cycling was just not a thing in Ecuador, but he believed he could, and he's gone on to wear the leader's jersey at the Vuelta, at the Giro, so the maillot jaune. But Remco was seen in the bunch kind of mocking him for making the effort to get the yellow and mocking Ben Healy for making the effort. And afterwards, saying to Pogacar, Carapaz didn't work. And almost like it's embarrassing for Carapaz to have so aggressively gone after the yellow jersey, or, you know, it's tactics. You don't ride when you're in a group that it doesn't suit you to ride. But, I don't know. It's a bit on the nose to me to see Remco kind of making fun of them.
I think it's a sport. Look, I've only been around it for a few years, but like humility is a big part of it. And our great champions at the moment, especially your cuz, they're pretty humble in titanic achievements. Pog's the same. Like, we know he's an absolute terminator. He's a killer, but he's pretty good humoured about it all.
Yeah, I think so too.
Remco, I just think, you know, this sort of stuff, it's just a little bit of petulance that it just makes you look like sour grapes. It doesn't look like anything else. This criticism of your competitors does nothing to diminish them. It diminishes you.
But let's remember, let's go easy, because Remco does listen to the Wheelhouse.
He is our number one ticket holder.
Yeah, remember, said
Yeah,
that
the
well.
Wollongong.
He's a
World
life member.
Championship.
He's a,
Yeah,
but you know what? I'll just say this quickly. A quick soapbox, because we've mentioned Carapaz, we've mentioned Girmay, and of course we've mentioned Cavendish. And one thing that's come out in the aftermath of their achievements has been this tremendous respect and esteem that they have for the event itself. This dream of the Tour de France. And when we're talking about Cav and him giving it a red hot crack until he doesn't anymore, part of that is just the privilege of being in that peloton, which a lot of people would aspire to and never get the opportunity to do.
Yeah, don't
And
let
then-
pride get in the way
Yeah.
of success, because you have to fail so many times
Yeah, exactly.
before you can succeed.
and respect the event.
Yeah.
You know, you spoke about State of Origin before. Just quickly, I wanted to get this in. 24 series wins to 16, but that's all right. Who's counting?
Yeah,
Those players.
Can we
they
remember
have-
34-0 at half-time
Can
in
we
the last
remember-
round?
Yeah, cut rid of that.
Yeah,
get rid of that.
all right.
38-10, that's all right.
Talk about selective editing.
But all of those players, the Ashes in cricket, Formula One grid, whatever it is, there is a respect to get there, just to be there. The Olympics, what a great example. Respect the platform you're on, and I think that detracts a little bit from that. In my humble and often inaccurate view, that's what I think. Anyway, so shall we move on, or do we want to keep shit counting Remco?
Oh, no, I think we can move on, because Dylan Groenewegen thinks he's Batman.
He's Batman.
He thinks he's Batman. He's so
I
cool.
like the Sunnies.
They're chicons.
You know what he said? I love how he goes, you know what? I don't even know what they do for me, but as long as I just get a little fraction, it's like, no, you're wearing them because you think they look cool.
Okay, so curiously,
Yeah.
they're chicon glasses with a little nose guard.
Is that how you say it?
Chicon, yeah.
Skycon?
Yeah, we-
Sycon.
yeah,
we're back.
Yeah, Bike Bug taught us how to say
Elliot,
chicon.
yeah.
Chicon.
Yes.
Unless they were stitching us up. Anyway,
No,
yeah.
and but this little aero nose guard, and put a cape on him. He's Batman, pretty much. But when I first saw it, I actually thought this is genius, because there is no way
yeah.
on these length of stages you can prevent your nose from getting sunburn. There is no amount of sunscreen in the world that keeps your noggin. And you notice in all of the photos, all of the interviews, they all
I
have
think that's why
red
he's wearing
noses.
it, though. But,
It's aerodynamics, isn't it? Not sun protection.
It is, but
but you know they got
it
banned.
makes sense. Well,
UCI banned them.
kind of.
Hang on, after he wore them.
See, he brought them out. They banned them, right? Because they weren't publicly available. Everything has to be publicly available.
course.
Yes,
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that?
yeah,
the
yeah,
old
yeah.
commercial availability
Yeah.
around the track bike?
Like Cav's bikes. It's a
what-
steal at 180,000 anyway.
Guess how he got around it?
Yeah. That's incredible.
He's got a bike shop, right? Sells stuff at his bike shop. He got a pair and put them up for sale in the bike shop. All of a sudden, they're available.
Oh, that's one of the best
One
loopholes
pair.
in history.
UCI said, yeah, right, fair enough. You can wear them. So we wore them on the goddamn bike race.
That's
I like it.
fantastic.
It's
Yes.
wild,
Play
eh?
the game or the game will play you. That's
Yes.
fantastic,
Well,
Dylan.
Look, I think good on him, and I love that it's creating this cool little viral social media moment of Batman. It's cool.
He's the hero Gotham needs, and he's the most stylish bloke.
And,
in the
it's really
peloton.
great sun protection. So I'm all for it.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the women's
me-
Giro a bit later, but we used to ride in long tours. There was always someone in the bunch with sunscreen in their pocket
Okay.
and with lip gloss in their pocket. And it would often get, can I have a little bit of that? Can I have a bit of that?
Yep.
Because otherwise you get sunburned. Like, there's some really practical matters here.
Are these now becoming...
I'm getting eye rolls from Merckxy. Like,
I just know, look at the marketing perspective. Are these now becoming this little stroke of genius from Dylan? Are these now the must-have piece of summer merchandise that are just going to start popping
in
up
my view,
everywhere outside his store?
in my view, there is not a negative to it.
Okay.
Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, fair enough.
If it's more aerodynamic, if it's more sun safe, why
I
wouldn't
reckon
you?
they should get him up, like, get the tour out of the way, whatever. Get him up on the tower, just crouch down, like brooding and just looking over and just get some lovely little aerials and just send that to anyone who wants to mess with the Olympics.
I'm
'cause
gonna
Batman is
I'm gonna
watching.
have a play on Canva a little bit later and see what I can whip up. Apologies in advance.
I'll be at Bike Bug soon enough, I'm sure.
Oh, they will.
Yes, I spoke to Bike Bug this morning. I said, "Do you have them?" And he said, "Well, no, because
There's
I
only
think
one bike shop on earth with, yeah.
They'll be
they're
there.
not a real thing, but they do have the other chicon glasses that you can clip them to. So when
Okay.
Pog's got them.
when Monsieur Groenewegen makes them more broadly commercially available, then Bob's your uncle
Bruce
if you've got a pair of
Gruner
Chicottons.
Waingen. Yep, okay.
Yes.
I love it. I think the best way to make people really, really want something is to have something that people aren't allowed to have.
Oh,
and that's just the most
absolutely.
fantastic thing you can do. So good luck to him.
Yes.
All right, Catherine, let's just have a quick pause for a second here, if you don't mind, because I was just looking on my phone and our 8 Nations, we're winning. We are winning the 8 Nations Cup at the moment, the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast.
You need to hit refresh.
What?
Why not?
We're not winning.
Oh, merde.
We're third.
When did that happen?
Overnight it happened. Great point scorer thanks to Cav. Binny, he's been delightful.
Yeah? Who's the weak link?
No.
Other than me, who's the weak link?
No, it's just, that Mark Pryor, who runs the competition, he's got a bit of an advantage over us currently. He's on 150 points.
So
We're
the
on
guy that's running
138
the
points.
competition is leading the competition.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah, but
hello.
he's good integrity of character.
Oh,
It's
is
just that he sees from the very beginning of when he was doing this, every team that succeeds and doesn't, his brain's like a matrix.
What do you win if you win?
Eternal
Pride, the glory.
glory. Eternal glory.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I
love
entered
that.
on my own because I was really offended that I didn't get
Yeah.
Roglic.
Yeah, we remember.
Are we ahead of you at least?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I've
So-
had a couple of standout days, but the last couple were, not.
We've tumbled. We've
not
crashed.
those.
We've burned. We've tumbled.
It is a long tour. It is a long tour. We are not even at the end of week 1 as we sit here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know who is just starting to lick their lips in excitement too is our beloved couch peloton. Now, something exciting in the bunker today, in the Paris bunker.
Yes. Well,
I should say.
if I may,
yeah.
I've got a
What are you doing?
fancy pair of duds on.
Yep.
Yes. These beautiful tights were sent to me by Anna Campbell,
All right.
who is one of the chief couch pelotoners.
Okay.
Joel, did you get a pair?
No pair for me. No, that's
get
okay.
a
No,
pair?
they're Natopia. Thank you. They're beautiful soft tights. I also got a pair of beautiful flamingo ones.
Yeah, right.
You've got some flamingos in your wardrobe though, don't you?
No, they're
Maxie?
they're
my
underpants. that-
DTs.
Yeah.
No one else knows about them.
Well,
Only
no,
me and
not-
Kate know about them. Whoa. That
No,
got
his togs.
edgy.
He's got lovely DT flamingo togs.
Good on you.
But Anna, she's exceptional with pronunciation.
Yes.
So is not backwards in coming forward to
What
correct
does she say
it,
about
which
Jonas?
is very good. Look, I think we researched and did Jonas well.
We got it.
But
Cool.
many years ago when we were doing the SBS show, Bonjour le Tour,
Bonjour.
she was very offended at my varying pronunciations of Tadej or Pogacar. Day on day I was saying it one way or the other and she kept me in a straight line.
Yeah.
But she runs another competition separate to 8 Nations called First Rider Across the Line, and you have to guess each night where they finish.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Anyway, and 7 Nations Giro is coming up for the women, so we need to get on that.
Fantastic.
Next show we'll...
Can I just
pick
say,
that.
we still get letters about that Bonjour Le Tour, how it got the chop.
Yeah, we missed that show.
Good show. Yeah,
Yeah.
good show.
Yeah.
Christophe Mallet
a
in there
thing.
as well. Yeah.
Bonjour,
Bonjour.
le Tour.
Yeah, it's good fun. It was a good fun show.
Yeah, we just don't have a couch. But
The broadcast
otherwise,
is like I love SBS, of course, but it's a very different looking broadcast.
It is very
in
different.
2024 to what we have
from when
been.
they had us there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, look, no, but just even the host studio and all that kind of thing. It's sort of it's scaled back.
Well,
Quite a bit,
while we're
quite a bit.
talking the broadcast,
Yes.
you may or may not have noticed Bike Bug. On there, they've got a great little advert. They are giving away one
ad.
of the Pogacar Colnagos,
Fantastic.
the V4 RS. All you have to do is go to bikebug.com/win and buy anything from Bike Bug through the period until the end of the Tour de France Femme, and you could win the bike.
Oh wow!
$19,000
Yeah,
that thing's
like
worth.
it's so cool. And guess who's drawing the lucky winner's name?
Merckxy.
Merckxy. It'll be
it
us.
won't be me.
No, you can do it, Merckxy.
I'll do the drum
Yeah, drum roll. We'll be doing it here on the Wheelhouse, so that's very exciting.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Cool. Can I
They-
enter? Probably can't. Can I?
Well, the problem is they need.
Imagine if I won it, you draw my name out.
That's the
Well,
problem because
that
they
would-
need
8 Nations.
independence.
Yeah, Mark Pryor can do it.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, Mark Pryor can do it. They need independence in it. And so if we entered, I think technically that removes the independence from that.
Is that what happened in the just quickly 8 Nations? Are the Wheelhouse is leading? No, I'm changing the rules. The rules are changing. Oh, look, now I'm leading. Anyway, that's
I don't think so. But
lucky we're not bitter.
If the Wheelhouse needs a villain like Unchained do, then, we've got one.
Riders are pleased, Catherine, other than Jasper, for the most part, with how things are looking out on the tour when it comes to safety and just the general setup of things so far this year. And I don't remember hearing that come out for the last few years.
It is. Before we move on, we can't leave a tour chat without discussing the fact that there haven't been many crashes. It's a pretty feel
one in stage 6.
I mean, touch wood. Look, there have been, and Roglic went down, and that's what, got him in a bit of trouble on one of the earlier stages. But the last couple of years, all we've talked about for the first week is this the most crashes we've ever seen in the opening week?
Like literally from the get-go.
But this time it's been about history. It's been about Cav and Girmay and Carapaz. It's been fantastic.
That sprint, though, the stage 5, Mads Pedersen went down in the background, 65 k's an hour. Oof. Dude, bunny hops over his head.
Oh,
stays upright. Bunny hops over Mads Pedersen's head.
Pure instinct.
Skill. Guy's name was Phoenix.
Yeah.
Felix
Gross, I think.
Yeah, Felix, Arizona.
But he rose like a phoenix over something like that.
He actually did a bunny hop.
Well,
that's amazing. Yeah.
French winner, stage 1 to take the yellow. French 1-2 on stage 2.
Yeah, beautiful.
It is a feel-good tour. I'll have no other word about it.
It's a museum tour.
It is
what it is. It's full of exhibits.
Yep.
It is full of exhibits, and that's been fantastic. We love it. You've been watching more Unchained, loving all of that. We already know what's happening in season 3, of course. We're
watching it play out before us.
We're watching it. I just want to talk about a young Aussie, just quickly, who's doing really well overseas. A young Cam Rogers secures his first win in the big time. Doesn't do it in France. That's going to come around. But he's just hop, skipped and jumped over to Austria.
Yeah.
Not bad.
He's only 19. He is very much cycling, part of royalty. His father is Pete Rogers, who was an exceptional bike rider, himself raced in Europe, but his uncle is Michael Rogers, the 3-time world time trial champion, who, a lot of Tour de France victories under his belt as well. But Cam Rogers, what's so amazing about it at the Tour of Austria, riding for Lidl Trek, he beat Filippo Ganna and Lucas Plapp in a time trial, an opening time trial.
Ganna wouldn't have seen that coming.
Ganna would not have seen that coming. What makes it even more remarkable is Ganna and Plapp are specifically not at the Tour because they are focusing wholly and solely on the time trial and then for Ganna the team's pursuit on the track at the Olympics. So they're in form. They're not missing the Tour because they haven't made the team. They are in form. So for this kid, that is I think the team at Lidl Trek would be having a little giggle right now. Like they've got the next Remco, they've got the next Pogacar, they've got him. They've signed him for years. Great. And he's Aussie. Whoop.
Is he our next great hope?
I think so. I mean, Michael Rogers remains one of the most prestigious, talented riders Australia's ever produced. And what was really impressive about him, and I note this about Cam as well, is Michael's birthday was in late December, so he was always nearly a full year younger than the juniors he raced against, but he was still successful, and that really pushed him, but it was always a bit harder for him. So, he was racing at Junior Worlds when he was 16, when everyone else was 17 or 18. And Cam as well, his birthday's toward the end of December. So that's why he's only 19 and still there.
That's exciting.
Very impressive.
That's exciting.
We've only got this location for another 15 minutes.
Stop waffling. All right, well, we've got to talk women's Giro.
Yeah, well, absolutely. The Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast, when we're in Australia, is produced at River City Studios.
Yep.
Big shout out there. River City Studios is also managing the Giro d'Italia, of course, RCS.
Yes. Yes.
It's the same company, isn't it, Merckxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a stake in the
same letters.
Studio.
We'll let them use it.
That'll do. That's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
No, it's exciting. It's the first time the women's Giro will be run properly, in my view. having done a fair few of them myself,
Yes,
I can
okay.
say that I hope the road book is a bit more accurate this year. 8 stages, including a stage that finishes up the blockhouse. Very big mountain. It is going to be an absolute cracker. And we've got some great Aussie talent going there. Neve Bradbury, who finished second at the Tour de Suisse not too long ago, the 22-year-old who got her professional contract through Zwift Academy, she is just on incredible form. And she got second behind Demi Vollering, like really impressive ride. And she'll be there.
Demi not going to go though. What's that about?
Demi's not going to go. Well, you have to look, this year it's a bit more complicated because we've got the Olympics and then the Tour de France Femme. So there's some pretty big stacked
God,
races.
What, the Olympics?
The Olympics,
Yeah, I've
you know,
heard of it,
like
I've heard of
that's
it. We should
what
talk
the
about the
rings are
Aussies.
about.
We tried to squeeze that information out of you.
You did. Well, Brodie Chapman has just had an incredible ride at the Lotto Ladies Tour. So she's been on really good form. She's going. Sarah Gigante at the Touring and Women's Tour has been in exceptional form as well. And that's a tour that's pretty close to the Aussies' heart because that's where Amy Gillett was racing and training back in 2006.
Yep.
And over the years, the Aussies have tended not to race there as much, to be honest. But we're starting to see some talent heading back there. With these massive climbs, Gigante is just set. If she can stay healthy, because earlier in the year for the Women's Vuelta, she was right up there on the climbing stages, but suffered with a lung infection from
That's
memory.
right, yes,
and
of course, yeah.
So, still did really well, but wasn't quite able to push it when she needed. But she's healthy now. And
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Do you know who I love seeing on the track?
On the track?
Yeah.
Who on the track?
Maddie Gleitzer.
Oh, Maddie Gleitzer.
M. Glates.
Oh, I was like, right, okay.
Olympic
Oh, hang
team
on.
selection.
This has to. We got to make. I'm sorry, I don't care about time. We got to make a big deal of this. Kate, hello. 3 weeks later,
Yeah.
they've named the team.
Yeah, it's not exactly like we're breaking it, and you had inside knowledge.
Can we at least
disappointed.
talk about it now?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Oh,
they
really?
have named the
Literally
Australian
everyone
Olympic
in
team.
the country knows.
So many opportunities.
No, look,
for this to be
it's
our
there are a
scoop.
few surprises, I think,
Yes.
for what people may have expected. There's no Caden Groves. You know how bummed I will be about that because I was really dead set that this could be one for him. But Michael Matthews, Luke Plapp are in there with Simon Clark, which is great. It will be his second Olympics. And, he's the rider who can go in an early break. It's a very long race, 230K, only 90 riders will really suit him. And for the women, we've got Ruby Roseman Gannon and Grace Brown. But Loretta Hanson, I'm really excited about. She rides for Lidl Trek. She'll be at the Giro as well. But Ellen Van Dyke, who's one of the team leaders at Lidl Trek, she said that Loretta's the most important domestique we have. And she's not a domestique because she's not good enough to win races. She's a domestique because she chooses to be on one of the biggest teams in the world and play that role. And we respect her so much. And so that's pretty cool.
That's fantastic. I love it because Loretta, it's like she genuinely wraps her arms around the whole domestique thing.
Oh,
I've
she
said in
does.
the past there is a place for a devoted, dedicated, what am I trying to say? Professional domestique? Is that what I'm trying to say? Like an absolute, that's your role.
In the past, that was not a role in women's cycling.
Yeah.
It was in men's, but not in women's. And that's what's really cool. And she's also the first time that we'll have a representative at, Olympic level that is the next generation from a female Australian road champion.
Amazing.
So we've had that, we talk about Cameron Rogers and his legacy with his dad, Pete and Michael Rogers, but we've never had one from the women's side of racing. Her mother, Heather Kelson, was the national road champion in 1981. So I think that is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
fantastic.
my fun fact. And like Merckxy said, Matty Gleitzer is back for his 5th games. So he's leading the track team.
I love it. I love it.
It is very, very exciting.
No Amanda Spratt for very sad reasons this year as well.
Yeah, so no Spratty. I think some people would have been a bit surprised to see her omission, but it is a tight team and hard to make. But there's been some really sad news this week on a home front for Spratty. Her father, Graham, is gravely unwell, and Spratty has had to abandon her preparation for the Giro. She's back in Australia in the Blue Mountains with her mother Lynn and brother Nick and their families rallying for Graham. So in her words, they're just hoping for a miracle, and
Yep.
and we're hoping for that too. And I get goosebumps. My dad knew Graham for 30, 40 years, and
Wow.
my mum and Lynn were in touch when we lost my dad, and are again now for Graham. And so we're just sending all our Wheelhouse love and support around that. And as Lynn said, the Giro can wait. Family always comes first.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so-
those are the sort of the priorities that,
Yeah.
make a champion.
Lots of love to
Absolutely.
the
It is
Sprats.
the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast coming to you live from Buddy. We are live, don't worry. No matter when you listen to it, it's live.
Yeah.
We'll be back to unpack more.
We
'Cause
will.
There's going to be so much
It's-
more to unpack.
There's one thing I want to leave you with.
Go on.
We love our expensive gadgets, accessories, toys. But if you're looking for a helmet for your kid, $22 Bluey helmet has been rated the
Yeah, look at
safest
this.
kids helmet on the market.
One of the safest helmets.
Yeah.
New
So
helmet rating.
thanks to, there was an accident a couple of years ago in Sydney where a gentleman passed away after a head injury from a riding accident. Very sad, but the coronial inquest said that they need to release helmet safety testing, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to keep your noggin safe. And so they went through and tested a whole
South
range
Wales.
of, in New South
Yeah,
Wales,
yeah,
a range of helmets from, $500 helmets down to $20 helmets. And in the kids and toddler category, the $22
Surprise.
Bluey helmet. Bluey comes good again.
Bloody Bluey.
Bloody Bluey.
As someone who works for ABC,
brilliant.
I hear a lot of Bluey.
Yeah,
that's
and
good though. That's a
Bluey
good one. That's
and
one of the good
bananas
ones.
in pajamas, and you got it
Oh
all
no,
in there.
they're old. Bluey is the universe.
Oh,
now.
Bluey's
It's
trumped
all
the bananas.
Bluey.
But yeah, you can go and take a look at it. We'll put it on our social media, a clip of the ratings, because it is quite interesting. Suffice to say that it's not all about the money.
No, it's not. And
So-
you know what? Quick shout out to the Bluey team, Daly, and all the team at Ludo Studios for bringing this beautiful treasure into the world that is giving a gift well beyond entertaining the kids on the TV.
Yes,
This is
it's
really
keeping
lovely.
their
Yeah.
heads safe.
Yep, beautiful.
And if you've ever tried to wrangle a toddler into a helmet, you'll know why Bluey helps.
Put Bluey on it and they'll wear it to bed. Okay, it's the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast, episode 102 from Buddy. Merckxy, you ready to jump back in for another couple of laps?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah. Get
Okay,
my,
come on.
Flamingo
Sure.
DTs out.
Bonjour, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. See you next time. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, tell everybody you know.